magwe kunigin mana wuondo wang' oganda mapacho kaende kaluwore ni gik mane Raila Odinga kod Lange dwaro mar mondo mikete tema nyaka gisani pok oketi.
Meant to hoodwink the public that the MOU had been implemented when it is obvious to all Kenyans that nothing could be further from the truth. This fact became apparent in a most embarrassing manner when attendees led by the Governor Cecil Mbarire openly challenged the President on the contents of the so-called report. Observers would also have noted that the President purported to extend the mandate of the committee by another 60 days in the same meeting where Dr. Oburu Odinga had earlier argued that there was no time limit in the implementation of the MOU. The confusion that Kenyans witnessed at KICC yesterday is enough proof that the so-called broad-based team are aware that they are lying not only to Kenyans but to themselves. We want to also make it clear that the ODM-PG as an organ has no powers under the party constitution to make decisions such as they purported to make yesterday. You will recall that prior to and during the signing of the now expired MOU, it was the party's National Executive Committee under the leadership of the late Raila Odinga that processed and superintended the process. The purported extension is therefore ultra-vires, unconstitutional, null and void. Be that as it may, we have also held the position that whether or not the MOU had been implemented cannot be a matter of conjecture. If abductions and extrajudicial killings stopped after the signing of the MOU, we would all know because we all live here. If counties have received 450 billion shillings in shareable revenue in the current financial year, we would all know. If indeed Ruto and his government honored their pledge to respect the identity and integrity of political parties, it would be obvious to all of us. Today, we wish to present to Kenyans the true report detailing the failures in implementation of the 10-point agenda, breaking down each agenda item and the falsehoods used to wrap them. Indeed, we have noticed that at the tail end of its mandate, the committee suddenly started traveling across the country, purporting to be conducting public participation. Yet the resolution to the 10 agenda items lay squarely with the regime of President William Ruto. Our expectation was that the committee would be domiciled at State House, seeking answers there on a daily basis. We present this report to seal any gaps that the committee and the regime may use to fool Kenyans that all is
Korka kora jaod burane de masuba South mulur Karoli Omondi medo kwere malich mokalo lepoto nogo maoyango ni koroni wuondo godo mana wango ganda mapacho kaende kalore ni singo matotha mabende no winjo be ni koriketo tempo koketi nyaka gie kinde niendi oyango ni oganda jo Kenya pod kalo e pegwe kumupogore opogore mabende no winjo be ni lepoto nogo mar NADCO kachiela koda misi apar kada 10 points agenda osetieko to gie kinde niendi magwe kopoko muli ka oganda jo Kenya koro nyoi wuondo mana wangi.
We are here to defend Baba's legacy. That is why we are doing this. It is so important for us. And I think it is important for Kenya and those who have been with Baba all along in his quest for a better Kenya. This particular document has Baba's signature. So it is important that people get an accurate, truthful, independent, impartial, and correct report on what is being done about Baba's commitment to Kenyans when he signed the 10-point agenda. We are here to make sure political fraud is not committed on Kenyans in the name of Baba. That is why we are here. We must protect Baba's legacy. That is our duty as members of ODM, as members of Linda Mwananchi, as people who worked with Baba. Secondly, whether it is NADCO or whether it is the 10-point agenda, these documents were made in the name of the people. So there must be a people's report, not what you saw yesterday, a conspiracy of some sort. The people themselves must give a verdict. And what we are going to give here today is the people's report on what they think on the implementation of NADCO and the 10-point agenda. And finally, we all have national values in our constitution. There must be accountability. When leaders make certain public commitments, they must be held accountable. What we are trying to do here is to hold those who signed this to be accountable to Kenyans. So people may ask,
Abende kotenore koda wach nendo mar yawo sava Karoli Omondi wacho ni ne en achiel kuom mise apara manowinjo bedi ni koro iketo tim ka oyango ni odiochieng' edo manyoro jatend piny Kenya moluor William Samoei Ruto kaachiel kod ogai mar ODM Laktar Oburu Oginga gi jotelo mamoko ne ok omulo kada wach nendo mar yawo sava kaachiel bende koda neno ni yiero ma higa manyien otim e yo nendo makare ka olero ni weche eko mag lony manyasani kata teknoloji e tayo chenro eko mag yiero nyaka non makare to moloyo kotenore koda yawo sava ma bende Raila Odinga ne dwaro kendo nowinjore mar mondo mi oyaw to gi kinde niendi jotend ODM kaachiel koda UDA koro ne oumo wach nendo kendo pok giwuoye nyaka gi kinde niendi.
To give them a record. Now, this report, I'll just give you some highlights, and I'll not go into details because they'll all be presented. But let's take the issue of audit of the 2022 presidential elections, what we called opening the server. There was an item like that. No work has been done on that. To date, people are asking IEBC, and we are asking them again here. If you do not address the issue of technology, not just the technology itself, but whoever supplies that technology for purposes of the next general elections, then what have you achieved? That was here. It has not been done, and they were too afraid to address it there. Nobody talked about it, opening of the servers. Did you hear anything about that? Confidence in the IEBC. They bragged that IEBC has been reconstituted. But ask yourself the question, has the new IEBC inspired confidence in the people of Kenya? When there are questions on how the selection process was done, when there's ultimate suspicion of close personal and other connections between those who are put into IEBC and those who are holding high offices in government and influential positions even in ODM, there are issues that must be addressed. So we wish IEBC well, and we are going to support IEBC. But we cannot bury our heads in the sand that there are no credibility questions. So we need to discuss these things. The cost of living crisis. They talked a lot about cost of living crisis. But I want to ask you and ask Kenyans, do you feel better off today than you were 3 years ago? That is a question they ought to have answered there. Does your shilling buy you more today or less than it did 3 years ago? Those are the questions.
Jaod bura ma Embakasi East Babu Owino kwedo malich mokalo okang' ma koro nyokawi koda kweth mag jotelo duond buch siasa mar ODM kaachiel koda UDA mar wuondo oganda jo Kenya e wi gigo eko ma bende Raila Odinga ne dwaro mar mondo mi one ni okonyo oganda e thur kaendi. Okwedo kendo nyiero osipwapo weche duto ma bende koro nyo jotelo go eko pankore godo e wi lipot nogo ma nendo mar mise 10 kata 10 points agenda nyaka gi e kinde niendi ma wacho ni nyaka koro non matut kendo gin magiyango ni gintiere koda lipot nogo ma bende oganda ma pacho kaendi owinjo bed ni koro ng'eyo.
About the 10-point agenda that was purportedly released yesterday, I want to say that that was just a mere PR exercise. Everything that was released yesterday was all gibberish. It was all balderdash. It was neither important nor detailed. The detailed parts were not important, and the important parts were not detailed. I want to talk about a few issues that I saw. Issues revolving around the 10-point agenda points to a specific thing: jobs, jobs, jobs. Jobs for the youth, jobs for our women, jobs for our men. This nation, we were promised jobs, that we would get jobs to a tune of around 1 million jobs annually, per year. What are we seeing in return? Just PR exercise. With the issue of the jobs, because of lack of jobs, the youth are going on the streets.
Kawabire kaunti niende ma Kisumu odo ni jonjore mapoko yange nyaka gi e kinde niende koro nyomo njo tieno ma piny Orugudo kawuono kendo ketho malich mokalo magawa niende ma Fairways manindo mayudore boma niende ma Kisumu e gino endo mitudo koda chendo geko mag siasa. Magawa nogo mabende koro en mar Irungu Nyakera ma en achiel kuom jotelo e duond buch siasa mar DCP mar Rigathi Gachagua ne omonji kendo nyamburko kethi kaachiel koda mwandu mathoth e magawa no endo ka Irungu Nyakera katwa koda jofwambo okwedo malich mokalo tema ochido machalo kamano endo mabende koro yango ni tudo koda weche mag siasa kaluwore ni en achiel kuom jotelo e duond buch siasa mar DCP.
It's actually a very unfortunate day for us here at Fairways Hotels. So around 5 o'clock tonight in the morning, I heard noises. I was sleeping here, heard noises coming from downstairs, and when I came down, I found that the place had been completely vandalized. I think for us, it's really unfortunate. We've been here as tenants of Lake Basin from 2019. I took over this premise when nobody was taking it up. It had been abandoned for about 3 years, about 3-4 years. Just the same way the mall is empty. It's really been about 6 years of building a business that works for the people of the Kisumu and should also work for me as an investor. And we have 84 staff. All those staff live here. They are from Kisumu. Yeah. So essentially, we don't understand why an officer in the government would actually go the direction that we are seeing Raymond Omolo going on this matter. The DCI officer from Nyanza asked I go see him in his office, and we went to his office. He called everyone there. And one of the statements that he made is that, unatufanyisha kazi ngumu sana kwa sababu hata PS Raymond has interest in that property. That's why I'm talking about Raymond. We have the recording of that. My life is in danger, but I am not leaving this premise. I'm not going to let anybody just walk around here and take my hard sweat. The law allows us to operate. We have all the licenses to operate. We have the staff. If we close, where do the 84 people go to? The person who wants us to close, is he ready to hire them?
Janeno mara yiena mar mondo mi wakaw yweyo mokwongo e kidieny ende mar Dier Odiochieng' waduogo bang' nyiri machuok kuom mano endo med mana kete Kala TV nikech ma e odwa.
Get ready to elevate your business and any other commercials when you advertise with us. We are not just a channel. We are your gateway to the peak, for we give you the precision and desire to your commercials. Let us be your partner in success, broadcasting your message to thousands of our viewers. Contact Kala TV today and let's make the magic together.
En gino makare mar chako odiochieng' gi ruoth. Ka igwedhori gi wendego mag pak masudi machiegni gi ruodhi. Bende wakelo ni jipo mag muma koda puonjruok mar lesson ma itayi gi Pastor Charles Odinde. Riuri koda an Brenda Agenyo Nyasuba Nyanam e chenro mar sabato maler ngeso ka ngeso chakre sa 12 mar okinyi nyaka sa 3 okinyi to mana e wang' jowi mar Kala TV nikech ma e odwa.
Tok bedo kod odiochieng' marabora e sikunde ka iduogo pacho, yud thuolo mar kweyo pachi kendo bedo gi mor e chenro mar Bang School. Chenro mar Bang School chakore sa 10:30 ma midhiambo nyaka sa 11 ma midhiambo. kama inene katun mamori, ipuonjori weche mathoth, ibedo kod mor gi nyiero motimo Cathedral. Kik bai, Bang School, chenro manigi mor lilo ne nyithindo duto. Kala TV, machiegni pacho ma e odwa.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Machiegni kendo, Gavana e kaunti ma Siaya okil James Bobagra Orengo koro nyiso jatend piny Kenya moluor William Samoei Ruto mar mondo mi oyie oyang ne oganda luwo lemo ma bende en obiro miyogi e piny owacho mare ma ok ni koro jo ODM ma koro oliero ka yango kanyendo lemo ma bende koro gidwaro kata singo ne gidhi sire, to kata kamano endo en pok onyiso dwaro kaachiel bende kod yango lemo ma obiro miyogi. Oyango ni 10 points agenda kata misi 10 manende gima nowinjo bed ni kuong iketo e tim mar mondo mi koro ka ging'e ka bende ne ginyalo tiyo kanyakla kod jatend piny Kenya kata oyo kanyaka gi e kinde nindo. Oyango ni manindo pod ok ochopo kare e kinde ma jo ODM to koro siko kendo dwaro mar mondo mi koro gisir jatend piny Kenya William Samoei Ruto lwedo.
10-point agenda must be actualized now. And if it was being implemented, we don't need to be told that it has been implemented. It should be self-evident. There are some people who are saying that the 10-point agenda is a matter of governance which is continuous. But we are saying abductions cannot continue. Extrajudicial killings must stop now. Victims of abduction and extrajudicial killing must get their right, they must get justice and must get compensation now, not tomorrow, now. The cost of living must come down now, not tomorrow. Our youth must get employment now, not tomorrow. Our women must be integrated into the democratic system by having a framework where the 1/3 rule, gender rule can be achieved now, not tomorrow. Therefore, we have an agenda with Kenya, we have an agenda with a nation called Kenya, and we are going to succeed. We are being led by ideology, by principle, by values. And God, if God is with us, nobody can stop us from doing
Jalar kom tend piny Kenya yiero ma higa manyien kod otike duond buch siasa mar United Green Movement e yo machuok yuji manendo mane chon ne nogaye mar jong'ad buche pacho kendi jang'ad bura manosedhi rutaya David Kinani Maraga onyiso rowere ni gine ma gintiere kod thuolo mar mondo mi koro gilok telo ma pacho kaendi kendo yier jotelo makare manyalo biro tayogi e higni go eko mabiro. To manindo timore mana ka okalo yiero ma higa manyien ka otwa kod rowere kaunti nogo ma Murang'a. Oyango ni rowere yo ka ombulu kendo ndikre kanyendo kaka jolut ombulu mar mondo mi gibi gine ni giyiero jotelo go eko makare ka ojiwo bende ni mago eko maonge kod opande oyiene ni koro oyudo opande kendo ndikre kaka jolut ombulu.
Jao itakuwa vile tunasema kwa Kiingereza a divining election. Itakuwa kura ya muhimu tangu hata kushinda sote ambao tumepiga tangu tupate uhuru wetu. Ni kwa nini? Ni kwa sababu vile mambo inaenda nchi yetu, tunataka kuchiokoa. Ni lazima tuchiokoe. Tukiendelea hivi Kenya itaangamia, na kuangamizwa kwa Kenya yetu ni wale ambao tumepatia mamlaka, na badala ya kuchunga mali ya umma wanaiba kila mara. Hakuna siku hata moja unaweza kwenda bila kuona skandalo ya ofisadi. Kwa hivyo ni muhimu Mkenya wote achukue kura, apige kura mwaka ujao.
Rumbi mar lit kod kuyo kwa kugande kaunti nogo ma Kakamega maindien bang' yud ringre ji ariyo e oda koda mabende gisebedo kanyendo ka gidakie. Kaluwore kod jonyuolgi giyango ni ne jogo ikore michiewo kinde mabende koro ne gidhi kanyo giyudo ka ringregi nitiere ot kanye kinde ma pisas mag obila koro gie kinde ni endi osechako timo nonro mar yango gima dine kel tho margi e kinde mabende koro rito lipot nogo mar bero ne ringre margi.
Nilikuja kumuona asubuhi ya leo baada ya kumkosa jana, na nilipoangalia kwa mlango nikaona damu, alafu nikajua kwamba humo si kuzuri, alafu tuka inform polisi. Ilikuwa tu hivyo. Kwa hivyo sikuwa na habari nyingine yoyote. I just visited my son na nikapata huko ndani si kuzuri. Nilichungulia kwa dirisha, sasa nikaona ndani kama kwamba niliona vitu vimeanguka na tena kuna kama spots the blood. Siwezi kujua nini ilifanyika kwa sababu nimewaona tu wote. Sasa sijui nani amefanya hili, nani amefanya hili, lakini
janeno mara yiena mar mondo mi amake gi kanyende kidienindi mar Dier Odiochieng. Kata kamano watude sa apare kidienyo nogo mar podho chieng' mabende wakelo ni weche mamoko manyien ne jogo eko mabende ochwalo ote magi. Philip Johnson wage wacho ni yo ma kanyendo weche manyien. Omosh mar Gifadha wacho ni noneno ka nitiere gwenge ko mag Ombei, Klete kaeto George Sama bende wacho ni aneno lendo e yo nendo maler ka nitiere gwenge ko mag Yongo. In bende mineno dala kanyendo kata kamoro amora ma intiere, kata bende kokalo mbui magwa mag tudruok manendo Kala TV Live, Facebook, X @Kala TV kaachiel kod YouTube Kala TV Kenya. Goni erokamano mathoth oriti masani. Nyinga Joash Odhiambo Mitula, kajaloko maro en migosi David Abila. Ka weche gieki bende pod inyalo yudo kokalo mbui magwa mag tudruok. Oriti masani.